When I was a child, and that happens to me still, I loved sitting on the front porch with my grandparents in New York. It was an old house on the hill. After dinner, I would take ice cream out and sit on the rockers with them and listen to the stories that they told about their lives, their love for each other, and our family. Now, this is your porch, and this is where you can come to listen to stories from the porch. And you can contribute to this by watching us weekly, or maybe more than once a week, and coming to see myself and my co-host, and being on our program. Oh, I think the sun is going down. It's time to go sit on the porch. Welcome to Stories from the Porch. I think you will notice that the porch is absent, and that's because the porch is currently under construction, and it's going to be a surprise, and it's going to be beautiful. And hopefully it's going to help you reminisce about the stories that you've brought to Glencroft and that you want to share with us. Today, I have a guest who is also going to be my co-host, and her name is Darlene Phillips. Welcome, Darlene.
Thank you.
And she is going to talk about what you're looking at right in front of us on the table are the quilts she made. And these are only two of a lot of quilts she made. And she also made this beautiful Indian girl. It's a girl, isn't it? Okay.
Yes, it is a girl.
Okay. Tell me about how, first of all, I want to start with how long you've been at Glencroft.
I've been at Glencroft for, it'll be 2 years in November.
Okay. And we know each other probably more from working together at the thrift store.
Yes,
And-
probably.
And our personalities just meshed. And when you do a talk show, it's really important to make sure you've covered all your bases, and that just in case there's somebody there that can take over. And Darlene, I think, is the person that I would like to have with me during that time, in case we needed to have somebody to step into the spot temporarily by themselves. That would be you, Darlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds exciting.
I think you're going to be good. I think we're going to get along quite well. But let's start with one thing here. Tell me about these two quilts. Tell me how you made them, what they represent.
Well, I made these at the Sun City West Quilt Club because we lived in Sun City West for 21 years. And the quilts are, well, I took a class for both of them. And the one that's nearest me is called the Underground Railroad. And these are all signs along the way that the Underground Railroad people that were traveling to get away from the South.
Slave trade. Right.
This is what they followed, were these signs, and they all made they meant something to them. They gave them some direction to where they were going, and so
That's
I thought
beautiful.
a very interesting quilt to do, and so I did that. That's probably the full size that this one is. This one is probably bigger. And I made that one. It was a challenge, and it is different. And when I moved to Glencroft, I had not finished either one of these. And when I say finished, I mean they hadn't been quilted. I had done all the sewing. They were all put together. The tops and everything were ready. And so I contacted a friend, and she came and got them and did the quilting for me. So that's kind of the story between these two. Now, I've made probably 25 quilts in a very short amount of time that I was a member of Sun City West Quilt Club. And I joined it just to go with a friend who wanted me to go. I don't know why. I never sewed in my life, but I went.
Really?
And she joined. I didn't, but I went back a couple more times as a guest, and I had the different people say, "Oh no, you need to come and join. We'll teach you. We'll teach you." Well, they talked me into it, and about 25, 30 quilts later, that's where I am. So,
Wow. Now, I have a question. The quilt that you had open the other night when I was trapped by the rainstorm,
drowning.
drowning, soaked to the skin, did you make that quilt?
No, that quilt I did not make. I was given that quilt by the hospital on my first experience with my cancer.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, no, I did not make that one.
I've only been at Glencroft for about 6 months, but when we talk about stories from the porch, as a journalist, human interest is where my passion lies in any area. And I wanted to tell about what you helped me with the other night. You rescued me. You rescued me from being drowned in a. I think I got hit by a wind burst. It blew me off my bike. I have a different kind of a scooter, and into a puddle of water that soaked me to the skin. I crawled on my hands and knees. I couldn't get up because the wind was so strong.
Only if you live here could you understand what she's saying.
What did you see when you opened the door?
I saw a drowned Kathy. She was wet from head to toe. And, of course, anytime you see Kathy, she looks like she just stepped out of a bandbox, but dressed to the nines, and her hair and everything is beautiful. Well, let me tell you, it didn't look that way the other night when I opened the door. And I was holding a quilt open to wrap her in it because I knew she was soaked. And then from there, we went into the bedroom so she could change and get out of the wet clothes and put on my bathrobe, and I could get her clothes in the dryer. So that's what we did.
And Darlene also fed me dinner that night. So.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, that was the only reason she was there, was because I had invited her for dinner, and she made it halfway, so it was just a matter of getting her the other half away.
You know, when I moved to Glencroft, I moved from downtown Phoenix, surrounded by younger people, to my peers, which are you and everybody else at Glencroft. And I did not think that this would turn out to be a miniature city. It's a community that is got a life of its own. It's almost like, and you'll probably laugh when I say this, but if you've ever been to New York has kind of an electrifying effect on me because I was born there, but also because it's just that way. But Glencroft has the same thing.
Really?
I feel an energy from Glencroft that I didn't expect to feel because I didn't want to live, pardon me for saying this, I didn't want to live around old people anymore. I just didn't, but boy, I found my tribe when I found you.
I like to say that there's not any old people that live in Glencroft. We're just long lifers. We've lived a long time, and we've got lots of history and that's why we want to share it here on the porch too.
Okay, tell me if you could choose one experience that you've had in your life that brought you joy, immense joy. What would it be?
Experience.
And it doesn't have to have a Glencroft attachment.
No. Well, I think probably the highlight of my life was my marriage to my husband. We've been married 55 years, and he is also here at Glencroft with me. He's got some health issues, but we're working through them and we work as a team. So that's probably one of my most exciting highlights of my life.
I met your husband, and he's very sweet.
He's a sweetheart, yes. He's a keeper.
I want to tell our audience, which is all of our Glencroft peers, that you're here tonight, but your husband is at the hospital. So you
Yes.
showed up for this, and you made the effort to do that so that we wouldn't have to change, and I truly appreciate that.
Oh, well, you're very welcome, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Great. I would like to know a little bit about your work experiences because you shared things with me that I thought were wonderful, and you really enjoyed what you did. So could you tell our audience what you did?
Well, I worked in a high school in Washington State for 25 years. I loved working with the young people. I think they kept me young. I dressed like they did. I did things that they did, and it was just a wonderful time. I was advisor of 2 classes, and as an advisor, I started with them as a freshman and stayed with them for the 4 years, guiding them through different projects. And the main focus was to raise money to pay for their senior activities on graduation. And we did quite well. And I started a craft fair and made over $60,000 for the
Wow.
ASB, Associated Student Body. So I felt real good with that. And when I left, somebody wanted it, and I gave it to them, but they only did it once. They said it was way too much work. So I felt bad.
Your kids respected you a lot, didn't they?
They did, and they treated me with respect. But I think one of the reasons is I respected them. And when I talked to them, I talked to them. I didn't talk down to them. I talked to them on the same level as myself. And I expected the respect back to me, and I respected them, and it worked out fine. It was great. And I was very fortunate with my job. I had an office off by myself, and I would bring my dog to work. She was a big girl, and the kids would come down and get her and take her out for a walk and then bring her back, and they thought that was great fun. So
When you talk about exchanging respect between yourself and the young people, I think that's how we help cultivate their success. Teaching them that. That's something that's sometimes very absent from their developmental process.
yes, you're right, and a lot of it is because they don't get it from the parents. Parenting nowadays, I think, is so different from when it was when I was young, and it's just very interesting how the kids are, and I've had a couple of issues with them, but
You know, since we discussed my passions are also the children and learning, and one of the most I don't know, revolutionary but also scary new things on the table is AI, artificial intelligence, and I started a company called All the Learning Applications, and it is designed to help parents get from the birth process or a post, if they decided to get involved with a child that's maybe 4 or 5 years old, they would learn how to develop a learning relationship with an AI entity, teach their child how to use AI properly, because the scariest thing with artificial intelligence and children nowadays is that they can take that phone into the bedroom and just never come out because they've got a new friend, and they just named their new friend AI Charlie or Mary Ann. But
yes.
I believe that AI can be an important and a valuable part of teaching parents how to be parents, because there's such a resource and a vast wealth of information available to them that you and I didn't go home with a book telling us how to raise children.
No, they certainly didn't.
So AI, it could possibly be that thing nowadays where you go home and you've got that person you can turn to if you don't have a partner home with you when the baby won't stop crying, when the baby's sick and you don't have anybody there to help you, when you're trying to understand why the baby is doing something, you just can open up AI and talk. I learned that teenagers don't know a whole lot about how to develop and cultivate AI relationships, and I think parents need to know more about it.
Well, I had one incident when I was working. I had a young lady come in, and she wanted me to do a bunch of stuff, and someone else had worked with her in the beginning, and so I was kind of in the middle of the stream, and I couldn't understand what it was she wanted, and she was getting upset and getting kind of sassy. So I said, listen, why don't you step out in the hallway and recollect your thoughts and then come back in and we'll start over and do this for you. And so she stomped out, and next thing I know, here comes the principal wanting to know what happened, that he had gotten a phone call from a parent. And I said, oh, okay, well, so I told him the story, and he said, okay, that's all I wanted to know, and he left. The next thing I know, the girl come back in and apologized to me for acting the way she did, and we moved on and got what she wanted done.
Sometimes you have to take that stand.
Yes, and I did a lot of that, working with so many teenagers, and it worked out wonderfully, and I loved it. I didn't want to retire.
Well, is there anything here that you find when you're interacting with your peers that reminds you of what you used to do?
What I used to
I mean, for example, we've got people here. I'm 77. You're 130, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any behaviors that you see in seniors that remind you of the maybe obstinate or stubborn behaviors of the kids in school? Or have we mellowed?
Gosh, that's a toughie. I see things, but they're so different. They're far apart. So I can't really connect them to the old to the young.
Okay. Well, what would you like to see Stories from the Porch grow into?
Oh, I'd like to see it become just a wealth of history and discussions with the residents, the knowledge, the getting to know everyone, first name basis. There are just so many things. I think the biggest is just the knowledge and the wealth of knowing so much history, if given a chance.
Right. And we can develop that here on the porch and invite our peers to come and talk to us about their lives and their accomplishments. I met a man before I moved here at another place where I lived who was one of the designers in the space shuttle. The first one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he could talk nonstop about what he did.
Yeah. I mean, the history that these people have, the information, the knowledge, it's just mind-boggling. And I'm so anxious to learn it all. And I think this is a wonderful place to do it, and I want everybody to feel comfortable doing it.
Yes, and I hope that we get our rockers soon.
Yeah.
Yes, I when the porch is built, I want it to look like a reminiscent of an old-fashioned porch, but nice and bright, a place to go and sit in your rockers.
Right.
And I want to have rockers that have padded seats, so I don't look like I'm sitting in a high chair.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Kathy.
Well, I want to invite everybody who's watching this to get in touch with us, and you'll see us at Henry's. I don't know, do you go to the Towers?
I go to Towers a lot to eat. My husband likes Towers.
Okay.
And I do Henry's as well. So
we will have business cards that we will give you for Stories on the Porch that will give you the information that you need to get in touch with us so that you can come and spend an evening with us.
exactly.
And we want to know a lot about you. But if you're nervous about being on a program like this, I want to reassure you that we give you an option to opt out of discussing certain things. It's, for instance, like when you go to the doctor's office, you've got to check mark these items. Yes, I have this. No, I don't have this. Well, yes, I'll discuss this. No, don't ask me this. Don't talk about that. Because we have a great amount of respect for your privacy, and people don't want to talk about things that perhaps cause them pain.
Right.
So we will have cards to give you, and you can then get in touch with either one of us to schedule an interview time. And the process is that we interview you for the show, and if you decide that this is what you'd like to do, we do a sample show, and we pretty much refine the process so that you're not scared and worried about it. Right? Right?
Yep. That's it. That's what we're doing right now.
That's exactly what we're doing because this is the first time for my co-host, and I'm so glad Darlene agreed to do this with me because I could have done it myself, but I didn't want to because I think it's so much nicer to sit here and talk to you than it is to sit here and talk to her.
And just as a reminder of her that is standing here in all her glory, I made her. She's porcelain. My mother, who was a fabulous seamstress, designed and made the outfit that she's wearing. It's all leather. Before I moved to Arizona, I had a doll collection of about 200 dolls.
Oh my.
And when we decided to move, and I had to get rid of a lot of them, there was just a couple that I kept, and this was one of them that I kept. And, well, actually, this one I had given to Mother, and she had dressed it. And so that's
Beautifully.
how I kept it, yeah.
You make jewelry too. I saw you showed me your jewelry collection the other night while I was recovering.
Yeah, yes, I was in the jewelry club at Sun City West again, and did a lot of silversmithing, and that's where I made a lot of the jewelry that I have. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I think that I'm going to draw this show to a close by giving you an example of what we would do if you were here with us. We would want you to bring things that you're interested in to show and talk about. And if you are a writer, I'm a writer, and I have a lot of written materials with me. Bringing all of your jewelry would have been just too heavy.
Oh, yes.
But displaying what you make and showing people what you've accomplished, I think, is important. And if you have done something that you want to bring with you when you're doing Stories on the Porch, you can do that. We'll help you get here. We'll help you get to the show, and we'll help you set up the display. Our videographer would make it easy for you. So, any other
Absolutely.
advice for people who are going to be on the show?
Just come and be comfortable and enjoy yourself and share all of your wonderful stories with us and with everybody else out at Glencroft, because this will all be televised on Channel 4.
That's right. And it will also be on Facebook. Pieces of it will be sent out to Facebook and other social media. So
Okay.
we will grow, and Glencroft is going to have a kind of a new signature look with Stories from the Porch.
That's right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Good night.